looking for positivity or looking for encouragement. To me, a Princeton aims to educate you, to give you the push to believe, to have the mindset for success. Mindset for success. To have the mindset for success. To have the mindset for success.
All right. Welcome to the Mindset for Success TV show. I'm Tamir Brinson, your host, and today we have a special guest today. We have Dr. Judy Mandrell. She's from the Dream Build. I'm sorry, Mandrell. I'm sorry. What is your small business? Go ahead and
It
introduce
is
yourself.
Dream Builders Greatness Center
Greatness.
Incorporated. Yeah, Dream Builders
Okay.
Greatness. Oh, Dream Builders Greatness Center here in Tallahassee. We have a daycare, um, ages 4, 6 weeks to 5. Sister Girls Summer Camp, leadership navigating system for children and adults, and a family affair program for the families.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I usually have it up, but you are filling today, and I really appreciate you coming on today. And also, we have Russell Drake. And Russell, tell us about your business right quick.
Yes. Good morning, and I thank you for the opportunity. I love your show. The mindset for success is changing lives every day.
All right, and Russell is the CEO and founder of Bill Black Daily, and he's traveling right now, so I really appreciate him coming on today. But let's get started because this is our trial review, and we're looking at the Cal Rittenhouse verdict today. So most analysts stated that the verdict to them. I was watching CNN and Fox News, but overall, most of them stated that the verdict wasn't a surprise for them. And some say that even there were problems with the prosecution's case, as they were the ones that had the burden of proof. But let me just play this clip because this is one of my favorite analysts over at CNN. So let me just play her and then I want your thoughts afterwards.
I'm actually not surprised that this resulted in a not guilty verdict because of the jury instructions, Anna. And you spent a lot of time talking to me about the jury instructions, figuring out why they were so consequential. And so when you saw him take the stand and explain why he himself thought that he was in lethal danger at that point, that probably was the one that tipped the needle and tipped the scale and moved the needle to say, hey, this person in his testimony is exhibiting some aspects of ordinary intelligence, number one, that he believed that it was reasonable to do so. And now the burden went back to the prosecution, where it always should stay, to say, hey, we have proven that he was not reasonable in his belief, that he was in a kill or be killed scenario. And so what you see here is, even through the closing arguments, Anna, as compelling as they would be about the active shooter and the reaction to an active shooter, you have to actually, through your case, present evidence that disproves the very low threshold in Wisconsin, where a defendant only has to offer some statement that they felt entitled to use self-defense, and you've got to disprove it. And of course, the two people who were killed might have been in a position to do so, but they couldn't testify. They were dead.
Right. So that's one of my favorite commentators. Actually, she's an attorney. I think she's the former federal prosecutor. But Russell, let me go to you because I want to revert back to our previous show. Um, and I remember we had this brief conversation about Cal, and we weren't sure about which way the jurors were going to come down. But I think I indicated to you his I think what turned around just what Laura said is that when he testified on his behalf, I kinda knew then that they were gonna go with the self-defense. But what do you think so far?
Um, Let me first say, you know, it's always sad to see anybody killed and by gunfire. You know, it's a horrible thing, and I think we have a problem with guns in the United States. Um, so with the whole Rittenhouse trial, I think, from our conversation last week to this week, I think our jurors were looking at it at a different angle um, than other trials, than trial in Minneapolis, right? What we have here is the jury more so got coerced by the judge. In this case, I think we have a classic case of judicial misconduct. The judge, you even saw judge instructing the jury at one point and comes to a complete halt, looks around, loses his own train of thought, and trying to inform them of what they're supposed to do. Um, Throughout the whole trial, we saw that when you see judges leaning a certain way, it leads to jury leaning a certain way. So with that, the jury found him, not guilty. It makes you think the deliberating was over some people that thought, maybe he was guilty or didn't want to take a stance. And, deliberating was to get the last people to say, yes, he's guilty. And, I think it's a travesty, and it's a travesty in itself that three people get killed by a guy who comes up and is dropped off by his mom. And but nonetheless, I think we see the importance and imperativeness of having people who are objective and don't lean a certain way in the courtroom, where they can make objective decisions and not influence juries the way they want to.
Right, right. That is an interesting point. I did think the judge had some kind of influence there. Dr. Mandrell, what do you say? Was this a surprise? Was the verdict a surprise for you? Number one, and then number two, what do you think about what Russell said? Did the judge have some kind of influence there?
I was muted. Sorry. The verdict was not a surprise to me after watching the judge and some of his actions. And when he stated that when they filed a mistrial and he held it back, my thought at that moment was, if the jury came back with any other type of verdict other than guilt, other than not guilty, he was going to flip it. That was my belief in watching him, his action, his posture, um, uh, just and all that what Russell stated. And I just believe that our country is going to be even more divided over this, and it opened up doors to other things that's going to happen, because that I believe will happen because of this. I think it was a judicial misconduct on the judge's behalf. I think he overplayed it too much. I think he was too involved with the jurors, and all of his gestures and just his interruption. I think that he overstepped his boundaries.
Okay. So, well, first of all, during the trial, he I don't think he went back and forth. He did go back and forth with the prosecution, but it doesn't seem like he did it in front of the jurors. But I think what did sway them, or what did have some kind of effect or influence, is when he gave the instructions to them.
Yeah.
So, okay, I see Russell coming back on right quick.
Okay.
Bear with me because he's traveling. So,
Even some of his facial expression, his
mhm,
nonverbal movement,
right.
all of those things are instruction. All of those things give validity to how people respond. And then if you go back and look at some of his facial expression, his body language,
Mhm.
and different things that as the prosecutor was talking. I guess the prosecutor, I think, as your favorite news commentator talked about, they had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt or what he said, or what Rittenhouse
Right.
said. They had to prove beyond a doubt. They had to really go into their case.
I mean, but I don't think they put on how do you think that they did on Russell, the prosecution? I'm not happy with how I don't think they put on a good case. What do you think?
Um, so it's a unique thing with prosecutors. We know that a lot of people leave prosecutors' office to have the opportunity to get jobs to make more money in the legal field. I understand that. Um, Even in the case in Minneapolis with the tragic murder of George Floyd, there
Mm-hmm.
was a practicing attorney that said he would come and work for the prosecutor's office who had previously left there, and he was established and very good. Um, that being said, I think they put the person they had that they felt could do the job, and I think he had a bad strategy. He was putting witnesses on the stand that were almost corroborating that you would have thought they were testifying for the defense. Furthermore, I'm not sure about his candor and familiarity with that judge, but just seeing that if I were familiar with him and I had a feeling he had that type of personality, I would approach some things differently. Furthermore, when they have the defendant on the stand, oh, he should have cut into him
Yeah.
cut into
Yeah.
him rigorously. But again, maybe it's familiarity with the judge. There, I mean, it can't be denied that the defendant sat up there and tried to cry like a 14-year-old who had never seen a weapon, and the judge gave him some sympathy with that, letting him off the stand having a panic attack, when it's like, wait a minute, this man came up there, man, not a boy, man came up there with firearm ready for action. He didn't cry or hyperventilate any other time, but I think the judge's sympathy in there definitely played a part. Anytime you try to make people seem more humanistic and understanding, then it's going to make an impact. And that's where I think the problem really lies. That he was. Most people don't give you that chance. He ensured that the victims weren't called victims. He ensured uh, that people looked at it to say, this is a young boy. And, if you flip it on the other end and you put somebody with my melanin in there, then, the judge doesn't treat him that way. The judge treats him like he's already guilty, like he's not a person even. Like, shut, it would be no leeway. Hyperventilating, heck, they may put him in handcuffs and drag him out of the courtroom. And, and that's the sad reality that we're in. And I know some people are, there's some people applauding and saying, "Oh, good, he gets his life back." But then it's like, on the other hand, there are too many of us that don't even get a life. Tamir Rice was killed for having a toy gun in a store
Right.
that was in the store. He gets killed. This man takes a gun, shoots 3 people with it, kills 2, wounds 1, and he's a hero.
And not just any kind of gun, Russ. AR-15. No, it wasn't just any. It wasn't a BB gun. That cat walk around with an AR-15. But did you notice on the stand you didn't see any tears? He did
Yeah.
all of that, but no tears came out of his eyes. If I'm gonna cry like that, tears are coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember I said though last week I called it. I said we might see that he's faking, but the people on the jurors, it was it was perceived by a reporter on CNN that they were buying it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he had.
So go ahead.
Go ahead. I say his lawyer prepared him well how to go at the heart of the people. He was prepared how to do that. A 17-year-old young white boy, um, um, they prepared him to go after the juror's heart, and he did.
So let me ask this. Some politicians around the country, celebrated the decision. And it was this GOP Congressman, Madison Cawthorn, offering Mr. Rittenhouse an internship. I think Representative Matt Gaetz did as well. But in particular, Congressman Madison Cawthorn told supporters to be armed, be dangerous, and be moral. I mean, I guess he had put in moral just to have some higher ground, but still, he told them to be armed and be dangerous and be moral, while exercising the right to self-defense. But others, like writer and critic Roxane Gay, um, said the decision emboldens white supremacist vigilantes. Um, so let me just ask, does this emboldens white supremacist vigilantes? And well, first of all, I take issue with I don't think race has anything to do in this instance. I think it's a mindset of entitlement. It's something about having a gun that gives them that entitlement to like be in charge and have authority. And they think because they have a gun, they don't have to follow the rules. And when they exercise their right to their gun laws, then it's self-defense. But my main question though is, does this emboldens other vigilantes?
I believe so. I believe what it's going to do is going to say to others that it is okay to bring weapons to protest. It is okay if everyone is openly carrying guns. It is okay to do that. And if they shoot, they're going to cry self-defense. And I believe that it is. I believe it is going to open up more a can of worms where people can just shoot anybody. They're gonna feel that they can get off with it. I believe that. I believe that it is gonna be. I believe we're gonna have a problem. Soon have a problem with these young. And I know you say you don't think it's race. If a black young man, 17, would have gone to a protest with a not just an AR-15, but any type of gun, I don't think he would have made it out alive. And I don't think he would have had an opportunity to be on court to even hyperventilate a little bit. I think it would have been handled differently. I really do believe that as well. But I think that we're going to see a problem. We're going to see some of these young white boys now go into wherever with these guns, and we're about to have a problem, I believe.
I'm going to concur with Dr. Judy in everything she said, uh, and and furthermore, I'm going to push a step further. If the victims in this situation uh, were black, I don't think this would go on a trial. I mean, to be frank, the persons that were killed were not black. The
Right.
people that were shot were not black in this scenario. Again, those were the only people that were shot in all of the protests that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Though those were the only people that were shot. The only kills were from his gun. A boy that gets dropped off by his mom.
His mom.
And though he was caught in lies, again, Dr. Judy is right that it's evidencing that even though you're of the same melanin and same race, because you're defying the rule that white is right, you're gonna have to pay for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So there, it's making an example. Mind you, the judge's phone rang in the courtroom with one of the "Make America Great Again" theme songs. That was no accident or incident.
Exactly.
Granted, I haven't been on trial much, but I've never seen that in a big trial anywhere. It almost was like a sitcom. And but to your point, when we talked about the prosecution, I'm not sure if the prosecutor himself completely believed in the case. I'm not sure about that either. It makes me wonder, just from this conversation, did the prosecutor think it was, a slam dunk case, or did he think, nah, this is not a real case. I'm just gonna go through the motions and not put the energy in behind it. And so to those out there, because this is the mindset for success, um, I think we have to stay optimistic and know this is the reason why we have to ensure that we have good judges on the bench. This is the reason we have to make sure we have good state attorneys or county prosecutors, so that we're able to get things, push people off the street who are doing negative things, and really respect those who are really standing their ground. It's hard to say one's under attack when you're the person that are posing the threat. It's like, I guess we said, don't start none, won't be none. If you start some, you can't play the victim after that. Um, and I think even looking at it, I'm sure you're going to have another show sometime looking at the Ahmaud Arbery trial, man who was tragically murdered. And, I think there will be more outrage if the folks in that trial get a not guilty verdict.
Yes.
You may find me up in Georgia, but
You may, Russell, you may find me up in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But this one is, I think it's a classic case of white supremacy, letting them know that, yeah, white supremacy is here. The judge supports it, the defense supports it, and now we have a young man who's a hero, who's going to go on and be on all kind of TV shows talking about what he did. And let's see if he
Yeah, and
hyperventilates or
they're thinking
falls on the
about
ground.
suing media too.
What you say?
Yeah.
They're thinking about suing media too,
Yeah,
just just for
of
the money.
course. Of course.
And they had a GoFundMe. They're paying for his attorney fees, right?
Of course. I
Yeah.
mean, come on,
So,
Trump.
but GoFundMe shut it down, and now they're thinking about going after GoFundMe. So it's going to be a whole bunch of lawsuits. It's all about money at this point.
Yeah, and as Russell just stated, it's about saying who's in control. They want to send the message that the white supremacists are still in control. In about 10 years, America's going to be a brown world. It's going to be a brown world, in my opinion. And this is what this is all about. They don't want to lose the white race. I mean, come on. So what they're
Yeah.
saying is we're going to make an example to show them that we're still in control. I mean, Trump and those folks send him so many congratulatory messages. You're a hero. You're good. This young white man killed two people and paralyzed another one for life. Come on. It is not okay. It is not okay. And we're gonna see a big problem arising because we got young black and young white. We got others, young folks who are not gonna tolerate it. We're not gonna talk, and so they're gonna be at each other. And so we have to start looking at the big picture. What is gonna happen now? He's gonna be on TV in a little bit. Somebody's show.
Hmm.
I saw it. He's
He was
coming
on
on.
Tucker Carlson last night.
Okay.
Hmm.
Come on. Now he's gonna start being on. He's gonna be everywhere. He's not a hero. And his mama needs some type of something. How do you take a 17-year-old boy out there with the AR-15 and drop him off? He went and bought a holster so no one would be able to snatch that gun off. He bought a
Yeah.
holster
They're
intentionally.
in Wisconsin, so they believe that their gun laws support all of that.
But I'm saying, come on. I mean, come on. He went out there looking for something. Ugh. Then he get on the stand just crying like a little wimp. Well, not even crying.
Yeah.
Not even crying.
So I mean, I think it's going to be. I see a civil war coming. It's getting kind of scary because this open carry stuff. And my thing is, well, first of all, let me go to the next question. The chairman of House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, he blasted the verdict released on Friday in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, and he called for the Justice Department to review the court decision and says that this case should be referred to them for possible federal charges. I guess because he crossed state line. That's another thing. This boy crossed state line to get involved in the protest/riots. So, but what do you think about that, Russell and Dr. Mandrell? Because I don't want to be the devil advocate, but what I'm thinking is it's kind of I don't want to say unfair, but what do you think about this notion that if you don't like the verdict, then you're gonna try to get the feds to step in and do something federal wise? I mean, is that
Um,
really the way we want to go in this country?
yeah, I think that's a hard one right there. I'd heard that and read it. I just think it's a hard one right there, right? You have I mean, you have state laws, you have federal laws. Many of them mirror each other. Um, I think. I mean, at the end of the day, I think Rittenhouse is unfortunately off. He's off. He's gonna go on and do things that he did cross state lines, and I see they can put some federal charges on him. I guess the thing in it all is this, right? We want the system to be called the same down the line, right? It's if you're gonna call it like this for this vigilante who does this, and and applaud him at any level, then do the same when some people are walking around protesting and literally the only weapon they have is a bottle of water. Let's just see the same treatment across the board. That's my thing. If you're gonna say this is acceptable and some brothers show up with some weapons strapped to them, don't just accost them and pin them to the ground and throw them down and do everything else to them and eventually shoot them, mind you, when you didn't do anything in this case when a boy was walking around with it with a weapon and it was all normal. That's my thing. Let's just call it down the middle. If this is the president's, okay, this is the president's. And it's like while I am a responsible gun owner, we don't have open carry laws in Florida yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we push them that way. But I'm like, if I'm out there carrying, don't beat me up. If I get stopped by law enforcement and you see my license and happen to see, oh, is that a concealed carry permit? Don't pin me to my car and search my vehicle like crazy to think, it's like this is legal through the state. Why do you have to oppress me in the situation? And that's the reality of it. Call it down the middle. I'm not, I don't think I have to trip on this much because I'm like, it's done. Okay, you've made your point. My thing is we're all citizens. We're all equal according to some sides. We don't have a race issue, so it's like, all right, we'll wait till it's somebody that looks like us, and now the onus on you to show the same blind looking that he's just carrying an AR-15 in his hand walking through a crowd. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't give us any gripe anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I would have to agree with you, Russell. Let's have equal justice across the board. Let's have equal treatment across the board. Let's be fair with everyone. Let's be fair. If we got a young black man or a young black girl or whatever age, and they're walking around with the AR-15 or whatever strap, and they're walking through the crowd and yelling stuff, don't bother them either. And when they shoot somebody, let them off too. Let's we got to be equal. Will we ever get there? I don't think so. But one of the things you said, Russell, I think people must take our local and state voting seriously. We have to take those things seriously so we can make sure that we're putting people in place that will help, that can hold the law honestly, that can deal the law honestly. I believe I am a believer, and Tamia, I know that you don't voice the sentiments of your guests. I am a believer now that we don't need the white hoods. walking around burning crosses anymore. They're sitting on our benches. They're the defense attorneys. No, the prosecutor, they're there. And so we don't have to worry. So now we have to find a smarter way to work in our community, because we know that our people and brown people, we're not going to get the same treatment as Lil Beaver. Little Beaver guy. We're not gonna get that. That's how Ruthie Warren said he had that baby face. And maybe some of the jurors thought about their child. That's a good thought. Maybe they did. He's an innocent boy. And so we just got to see what's gonna happen here.
Right. That's what I was saying. We just gonna have to see and pray because I do see is coming to be it's getting it's getting out of hand now. Not that it was not that we had a handle in the first place, but it's really getting out of hand. And like one of the comments on here, let me go back to it. John Dillinger, he stated that, blacks carry guns too.
And we do.
Let's dispel that myth that blacks don't carry guns. Black carry guns too. So what happens when you have a black cow running out there too?
Yeah.
Do we want that?
Blacks carry guns. Everybody have that right according to our Second Amendment, right? Everybody
Yeah.
carry, but you don't find too many blacks walking around with an AR-15 strapped through their shoulder, going around innocently shooting somebody. You don't find that. Not too many minorities. You don't find that. But we all have a right to carry it. My thing is, let's be responsible. We're opening up. We're opening up a Pandora. We have opened it up that we cannot handle.
Yeah.
We cannot handle. And blacks are not treated the same walking around with an open weapon as the white Americans. And you say we're not. We're not treated the same. Let one of my grandsons and my nephew have been in a protest walking around with that gun.
Mhm.
It wouldn't be the same. And we living in a divided America. We know that we're not treated equally. We're not.
Well, no. Let me put this caveat, and I know y'all not gonna like this, but this is the God's honest truth. He would be treated differently if he was black, yes. However, if he was black and claimed to be of the right, the conservative movement, they would have been behind him all the way. It's unfortunate
If we would've been
that
black,
politics is plays a part in our justice system, but that's what's going
but even
on.
with that, Tamir, for lack of a better term, y'all, and you all can help me with a better term if you desire. He would have to be an Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be one intelligent black man walking around with his own opinion, even a part of the Republican Party or any other party that's out there. He's not gonna be able to have that voice and have their backing.
I have seen it in Texas.
That he was
Walking around with a gun, a black dude.
Uncle
Yes.
Tom, Uncle Tom, Uncle Tom. You have to learn how to really butter them good. You have to, because if you don't, you're not gonna get it. You're not gonna. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mister. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No. What's the movie? Get Out. No, no, no. No, no, no. And it's not everybody. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. But that top heavy, that the heavy top, and like that man, the judge phone going off with the Donald Trump ringtone, what he did. Come on, that wasn't just happenstance.
Yeah.
That wasn't
I mean,
happenstance.
that's kind of, he should have been removed right then, but
Yeah, they should have asked him to be moved from. I would have asked long time ago. Anyway, but we're here now, and we're gonna have to find out. And as you stated to me, prayer is gonna. We got to pray. Those of us who believe in God, we're gonna have to.
yeah.
Russell leave.
Okay, so let us go to a quick break. And I know, Russell, you're on the road. Hang in there. But let me go a quick break because I have to gather myself and get and find this clip because I want to add more background, more overview for the audience. Okay, so we'll be right back in 30 seconds. All right, all right. We are back. We are back. And if you just tuned in, you are watching the Mindset for Success TV show. I'm Tamia Brinson, your host. And our guest today is Dr. Judy Mandrell. She's out of Tallahassee, Florida. And also Russell Drake, and he is in Orlando, Florida. So, Russell Drake and Dr. Judy Mandrell, welcome. Thank you for participating. And this is the second segment. I want to get into this because I finally found this clip. um, just some reactions from some people we know because one of them identified with some of you, our guests, and the audience, and another identified with what I said earlier. So I just wanted you to watch this. NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, I don't know if you know him, but he stated that Kyle Rittenhouse would have been given a life sentence or shot dead if he had been black. And not that I felt some kind of way about racializing this case, but I kind of understand that argument is that, you know, it would have been different and we really don't have a equal justice system. So is there a problem? This is what I want you to think about, and I want your thoughts after the clip. Is there a problem with our justice system when it comes to perception? You know, along these social, economic, or racial lines. So let me go ahead and play this clip, and then I want your thoughts afterwards.
Hey guys, well it was a good trip, and I have questions about the verdict, and the verdict really speaks for itself. As many of you know, I've spent a majority of my career working to make the criminal justice system more equitable, and clearly there's a lot more work to do. Thanks.
Thanks all.
Madam Vice President, people were calling.
I got to find out what is in these white tears. They do so well. We have to find the ingredients for white tears. They work so well.
Oh,
like
God.
white tears.
You gotta call them white tears, really.
Man, let me tell you, every time a white person cries, somebody's found not guilty. That was the worst. That was the worst acting I've seen since Stacey Dash. Are you crazy? That was horrible.
When you saw that video, was that your opinion? Like immediately you thought, well, they're gonna let him off.
Of course, because let's be clear. The right doesn't believe that. They believe COVID was a hoax, that Sandy Hook never happened, that the January 6th insurrection was tourist. They believe that all these things are false, but they believe that performance was real. It really says a lot about the low standards you have to reach. We live in a nation right now where a man who knelt is vilified and a man who killed is glorified. It is insane.
All right. So in that first clip, that was Vice President Kamala Harris, and the second clip that was D.L. Hughley. So, and I identify with DL. So, but what are your thoughts to both of you? Because you mentioned this before, and I was looking for the clip. I was like, they went right into what I was researching last night, and I pulled this up. So, what do you guys think how can we get to a place where race across racial lines, of course, the social economic lines, and then also about this perception. It is a problem not only in our country, like we were talking about the Haitian immigrants or migrants, and how they were treated and how other cultures are being treated differently when they come into this country. But it's a perception problem even with our justice system. So how can we remedy that? What's the steps that we need to take to other than prayer to remedy that? Because it's a problem.
I think number one, we're gonna have to find those white tears that Russell or that D.L. Hughley were talking about. We're gonna have to find those tears. Tamil, Russell, this my thought, and this is it wholeheartedly. Blacks has always been, I think they're scared, really afraid of the power that we really possess. We're a very smart, intelligent group of people who have been pressed down, oppressed for years. And so now that we're coming into intelligence, we're owning our own businesses, we're creating jobs, we're learning a whole lot. We're doctors, attorneys, or judges. We let electrical engineers, we're college presidents. Some of our families are intact better than others. I mean, more than we have been. I think people are afraid of that. So how do we make this justice system equal? I I think we're going to have to. Well, one of my thoughts is we're going to have to really encourage our younger folks and people who will to become lawyers in justice and get on the criminal justice system, who will go in and make impact. We're going to have to make sure that our legislators and senators understand. I think who was talking about perception? I think it was Russell talking about the perception. We're going to have to make sure that they understand how important it is to make laws that affect us. We're governed by laws. And so we're going to have to make sure these laws reflect us, reflect the minorities. We're making all over the place for the refugees. Who was that who just came over here? Finding houses and homes for them. Haitian has to be sent back. It's just corrupt. And I think it's because of the perception from the very beginning. We're not slaves. We're not slaves. We're not ignorant. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of the violence and stuff with some of our young Black people. They're not going to take what was happening years ago. They're not going to accept that. We're smarter than that now. We're not afraid now. And so we're going to have to put judges and people in place. Vice President said that was she was working on. Very good political answer. She was trying to get that straightened out before. Well, we're going to have to get people who can really fight for it. We need people not afraid to fight in the Senate, not afraid to fight in the House. We need people who are not afraid to fight in the street. I'm not just talking about with guns and stuff. We need pen and paper. We need people who will go in there and make laws. That's one of my thoughts.
Okay. Well, I have a broad audience, as you know. So, one of the audience person said that Cal Rittenhouse did nothing wrong. So, I want to address that because, and I rarely on this show, I rarely put in my little 2 cents. So, kind of let the guests speak and let the audience decide which way, make up their own mind. But in this case, as far as Kyle Rittenhouse, him doing nothing wrong, the self-defense, after looking at his testimony, how he testified, and then also after looking at the video, I think that he did nothing wrong in that moment. I think he had a self-defense case in those moments because they were coming after him. And, it was some back and forth in the language even beforehand, simply because of an instance that he created. Now, that part, all the way up prior to the exchange and him killing 2 people and defending in my view, defending himself against the other person, the third person. All the way up until then, I think he was wrong. So let me just make that clear. He was the antagonizer. If it had not been for him walking around with his gun, those three individuals would not have, identified him as an adversary. He created that.
And that's the whole problem. That's the whole problem. So they people think that he did nothing wrong. Well, you have to go back and look at all of it. Number one, if he hadn't been there, if he hadn't had that gun, if he hadn't been doing what he was doing, it wouldn't have happened. Even the scripture said, told the father, provoke not your children to anger. Right. As much as a lot of people in you live peace with all men. There's some things that he started that. If you watch it, he started it. It wouldn't have been a fight. It wouldn't have been anything if he hadn't started. Did he do something wrong? He sure did. By starting all of that, he sure did. That was his wrongness, in my perception.
That I agree. But as far as the trial, his self-defense was in those moments. Yeah, but that's how Zimmerman got off.
Yeah, and you can't just go with the moment. In the moment, I'm fine. In the moment, I may not be committing adultery. But if you did, you did. Right. In the moment, I might not be stealing. But if I stole, I still stole. Right? I mean, so you just can't go for a moment. That cat was wrong. He was wrong. Wrong. And then to innocently kill two men and paralyze another, he's wrong. And so I say to my audience, just consider your family. Just consider if he would have shot your dad, your uncle. Just think about that, or your brother. Would you still believe that he was innocent? Come on. I mean, we got to put it in the right perspective. He was a young man out of control, and I believe influenced by a system that appreciate and applaud such wrongness.
All right. So I put in my 2 cents, and again, I rarely do that. So let me go to Russell. What do you think? Because the audience member on YouTube, they put out that Kyle Rittenhouse did nothing wrong, and I assume you heard me and Mandrell's input. But what do you think to that?
I'm gonna say this, right? We got a serious problems, right, in the nation, right? We have serious problems, and I concur with everything Dr. Judy shared too, but we got serious problems, and in peeling back these layers and looking at them, criminal justice, the criminal justice of it is related to the economic justice of it too. We have to really, I think, dig in this new decade more and more to establish our value and pool our resources together to tangibly show our value too. And see, the economic thing is really I think the kicker more than the colored thing. If we spend more money than any other race in this nation, and arguably even in the world, if blacks in America were a country, we'd be the 13th biggest spenders. When our dollars control things, that's how we really are going to start making some waves and change. When we understand that more and push it, some people get it, some people don't. But right now, even in the moment we're having some outrage, it's not shifting our dollars. It's no concern about the the feelings and thoughts. It's no concern about us being oppressed or feeling any type of way because the dollars aren't shifting. And I know it's kind of deviating, but I'm saying that it's the big thing. When we show that our black dollars matter, then it's going to become more apparent how much our black lives matter. But if we don't make a pivot with our dollars or pooling them together to make some power stances and power moves, even with the oppressions that are out there, we're going to be circling the wagon and coming back and talking about it and preaching to the choir while there's no immediate change happening in our communities. And I mean, it's told that politics is how much and who gets it, and who gets it depends upon who has it set up to get it. So I think in things like the mindset for success, um, the encouragement is to organize more, is to share knowledge more so that we can take actions to get our economics in order so that we're able to make it, be impactful with them and control where we're going as we come up on Black Friday next week, right? How much of our Black Friday dollars are going to black businesses and black communities? Are we even lifting up ourselves to show that we know we're of value? Because if we don't show we're of value, nobody else is going to treat us like we're of value either.
100% true, Russell. That's 100% true. We have to show value to ourselves, and others respect us as we respect ourselves. And financially, if we can ever get the concept that economically, if we can stop putting all of our money outside of our community, outside of our businesses, we have to learn some stuff now. You're absolute. I agree with you. Absolutely. There's two powers. There's money power. There's people power, and both of them take unity. Coming of the mindset. We have to teach it. We have to teach it better. We have to teach it better, and we have to teach it till they get it.
Amen. Amen. Now, let's wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for coming on. Y'all save my natural Saturday life. Okay? Because I understand this is the holidays and people are limited in their time. So I really appreciate you coming on today. I feel this was necessary because there's some things we had to get out and discuss as a family, as a community. We had to discuss this today and see how we can move forward. And actually, this turned out to be one of the most interactive show. Most of the people are tuning in, making their comments today.
And
So,
to me, may I
mhm,
say something right quickly?
yeah.
One of the things that this case has shown, in my perspective, I think somebody mentioned it, and I wanted to write. I had written it down. He was there was no consequences to his action. There was no consequence. Now he's being praised. Now he's been marked as a hero. Now he's been marked, but there was no consequence. Who's not to say later on something more drastic may happen through the hands of this young man? Who's not to say?
Hmm.
Who's not to
Yeah,
say
he's probably
somebody?
emboldened now.
Yeah, who's about to say one or some other young folks may get up and say, "I can do the same thing because he's got on," and their attorney is going to use this as a case in point as to why their client should get off.
Yeah, I mean, because when you're seeing a protest, and even if it does break out in a riot, people are gonna feel more emboldened, especially gun loving people.
Yeah,
And I mean, I hate to say it like that because I believe in carrying
right,
guns.
right.
But for those who are really infatuated with it, it's going to embolden them when they see a riot break out on the news and it's in their vicinity. I mean, who's to stop them from just picking up their gun and going heading down there, just like Cal did,
Yeah,
So that's not good. I think our laws just need to be, reformed because, like I stated before, I personally believe it was self-defense in that moment, in those moments, because they came after him and then he shot them in defense. That's
They
just
know,
my opinion,
and it's
but our laws don't address when you are the aggressor going to, cause trouble.
unless you're not white,
Our
because
laws don't address it.
we're seeing
Well,
that
yeah,
happen too.
just
I
like
mean,
with Trayvon Martin, he was minding his own business.
yeah, I'm gonna say we got a lot of black people in jail who should not be incarcerated. They did the same thing Cal did.
Yeah,
They self-defended themselves.
right. I mean, well, in my opinion, Trayvon Martin,
Oh, he definitely shouldn't
he
have
was he defended himself, self-defense. I mean,
been.
come on.
Yeah, a lot of them. But what happened? What happened? As Russell
Yeah, so
stated,
we need to have our laws that address,
yeah,
you know, why are you coming to the action? That has nothing to do with you. You was at home or whatnot. Why do you go to the action? Yeah, maybe self-defense at the time and they came after you or he reached for your gun or whatever. But what led you to that point? How did you get here? Why are you there? Okay. So let me get off my soapbox. I mean, yeah, they need to be held accountable for just like if you're sitting in your living room and you decide to pick up your gun and go down there, it needs to be consequences for that.
yeah, I agree.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying this. I think let me say this. I think this is a wonderful wonderful dialogue, and we need to continue having them.
Yes.
I think overall, in the grand scheme, we have to educate ourselves and strategize, right? I think we got three things at hand. One is we see the systems tilted, so now let's work on it in the political process, in the electoral process, to tilt the scales.
Right.
Two, we have to show people that we are worth something, and put be more than a hashtag, but actually put dollars behind supporting quality businesses like this show itself, to let people know this is an excellent show, this is an excellent medium. I don't have to tune into some mainstream outlets that are going to sugarcoat things when I
Right.
can tune into the mindset for success. Just that in itself, and having our own media, goes a long way. So, continually pushing that upward and not making it a foreign thing or just an occasional thing, but this is the regular thing and the norm moving forward. Um, Thirdly, not being silent. There's merit in making noise. You got to, it's like there are a lot of people that are going to be silent. They're not going to comment on it. Whether they're clergy, whether they're law enforcement, whether they're elected officials. I just think leaders need to lead. And it's like, if you're leading, be that leader that's able to talk about this stuff. Be that leader that's not afraid to address things. That's the thing. It's like we're all in a community. Rittenhouse, law enforcement, activists, we're all in the community together. So if we're in that community, if you're leading in that community, let it be known. And let it be known this is the stance that we're taking. And it's like, by doing that, that's how we get respect across the board. Like, you don't get respect by not saying anything, not doing anything. You get respect by taking affirmative stances in it. And it's like, not, it's too much at stake to be afraid to toe the line. Just, I'm gonna pay my dues to the NAACP, but I'm never gonna show up to anything. We're beyond that. It's time to really take action. And again, I thank you for the opportunity, the privilege, and I think, brilliance of Dr. Judy, the wonderful work that Tamia Brinson brings to the table every week and every day, dare I say. Hey, we're all in it together. Mindset for success. I'm trying to apply my mind for it. Thank you again for the opportunity.
All right, awesome. So you guys, we're going to wrap this up. And Russell, is that your pitch? Or do you have anything you want to announce?
I want to announce that I've arrived to one location safely, so I can look at the camera.
Wow!
And I want to thank you, and I'm gonna share this to my viewers, because I know, see, this serves as a sounding board. A lot of people have thoughts that they aren't able to get out, and they have frustrations. And when they see people that are getting them out and sharing the frustrations, it helps to alleviate them. So now after that, people can focus and dig in. So it's in getting out what you got to get out, and now let's take action and work forward. And I thank you again for the opportunity. One love.
Awesome. And Dr. Mandrell, anything you want to pitch? Anything you want to say before we?
Hey, Russell, my brother and my brother-in-law's son, both of them are Qs as well. So you make good, intelligent sense there. I just saw you had on your Q jacket. But I do want to say I enjoyed this show, Tamia. Thank you so very much for considering me enough to bring me on to fill in for your guest. But the show was very needful. I agree with we got to educate ourselves. We got to have conversation. And I believe that as we educate ourselves, we educate others, then we bring ourselves to the table. We can't go to a table that's already created. Let's create our own table. And let's get it out there. We have to know. Scripture said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. What we don't know will hurt us. And so we have to come together and learn how to pull things together for the common good of everybody. It's not just about us. It's for everybody. Again, Tamia, thank you for allowing me to come. Mr. Russell, it was an honor and a privilege, sir, to share this space with you. Thank you, Tamia.
Awesome. Okay, so right now, I want to thank you guys for coming on. And again, Dr. Mandrell, special thanks to you for filling in at the last minute. Ooh, you saved my natural life today.
That's what friends are for, right?
Yes. So,
hold on. I just thought about something. Russell, that's what we do. That's what we have to do for all of us, right? There come a time that we have to step in to help save people's lives. And so you may have to make adjustment. You may have to put aside what you were going to do. But if your sister or brothers in our community need each other, we got to come to each other help. And I believe right now, as Black Americans, as minorities, as all of us, we need help. And all of us going to have to make the sacrifices to step in to help each other. With not saying, what am I going to get out of this? But knowing that you're going to bring something great to the table for somebody else, along with others. Because I'm big on partnership. It wouldn't have been as great as it was without all of us on here, I believe.
Amen. Awesome. And just to let you know, both of you may not know it, but my family loves your commentating on here. So both of you are great guests. And right now, I just pray that God bless you and may you prosper in everything you do, all of your endeavors, anything that you seek out to do for good and to change this world for the better. I pray that you have much success in it. Amen. Okay, so for the audience, thank you for tuning in. Next week, though, I want to announce next week we will not be having a show. I know that it's a holiday for that, and Black Friday and everything leading to that Saturday. I know you're going to be shopping. So we're going to take a pause on it for next week, and we'll be back the following week, okay? So until then, you guys be blessed.
You have the mindset for success. negativity.